Hey guys, this is here bringing you another video. Now welcome to another dev blog. Some really exciting things to talk about in this one. There is another one that I'll probably make a separate video on, and that one's about champion mastery, but this one we're going to just kind of cover what is happening in 2024. And there are things in here that I knew about, and there's kind of some things I didn't, and they're pretty exciting. And there's also one very big controversial thing I think that they'll be covering in here too. And I'll be very interested to hear what people think about that. I have my opinions, I'll share them, but here we go. So, the first thing, the cinematic for the upcoming ranked season is launching January 10th. It is worth mentioning, obviously I think it was last season's, that was an absolute disaster. I'm not a massive person into these cinematics, but what I would say is how's the wording? I don't really care about them, but the better the cinematic is of like investment and everything, sometimes it does kind of show where Riot's mentality is. If they're a bit checked out, then the cinematic isn't very good, and that's last year's cinematic. It was awful. If the cinematic is absolutely out of this world amazing, usually it kind of just shows where the company's ethos is of like, oh wow, they're going for it. Okay, here we go. So we'll see how it is. The next thing is that they're making changes to the ranked system, how it evaluates skill. This means you'll see fewer Smurfs or players with vastly different ranks to your lobbies. Very commonly, last season, you would have silver players in the same lobbies as platinum players. Very commonly, which that doesn't make any sense. The next up is Skarner is eventually getting his release in the first half of 2024. And then after Skarner, a champion from Arcane is getting a VGU, which again, VGU, just reminding everyone, I think VGU is visual, so I think it's visual gameplay update. So their kit isn't really changing, it'll just be visual. Let me know if you have any guesses. If I had to guess a champion from Arcane that's going to get a VGU, probably Singed if I had to put money on it. I think it's either going to be Singed, obviously slight spoilers with these characters being in Arcane, but Singed or Warwick I could see, but they've kind of already done Warwick in the past. But yeah, Singed is my bet. Secondly, Shyvana is getting a VGU also, which is aimed in the release of next year, so they're just announcing it. The reason why I think they're announcing it is historically Shyvana has always been in those player vote ones, but she's never won it. So Riot's just taking the initiative and being like, screw it, we're just doing it. And maybe a VGU is a big update, actually, because I don't think they're going to be keeping Shyvana the same. I think that is a gameplay update, because they've historically not been happy with Shyvana, because, how do I say, her kit doesn't make quite a lot of sense, because, like, you either are a one-shot AP mage in dragon form, and you're only useful for a few seconds every minute, or you're an AD bruiser that kind of a lot of the time ignores dragon form. So I think they're probably going to lean on a lot more dragon aspects with their update. And these are just some very early concepts of what potentially she will become. I think they're going to probably lean a lot more onto the dragon aspect, if I had any guesses. Obviously, talking about dragons, Smolder, the fiery fledgling, is the new AD carry coming. Obviously, I did a video on that. If you've not seen it, go watch it. Pretty cool champion. After that, the mid-range mage solo laner is after Smolder, so a new mid-lane mage. And then this is one that I didn't know about, which I'm actually like, hells yeah, dude. Ambressa Mordada is coming to League this year. So if you've not watched Arcane, you will not know this woman. She's from Arcane. She is a Noxus general, similar to Darius in stature. Quite grand, big, tall, quite menacing, very powerful in just her demeanor. And I think that's really cool. A new Noxus general. Obviously, we have a few Noxus generals, or whatever you want to call them, in League. We've got, obviously, Darius. Swain is also quite high up in Noxus. So having another pillar, if you will, of Noxus, I think is pretty cool. I like Noxus. I prefer Noxus to Demacia. Kind of like Horde versus Alliance. So I think this is an absolute win. Where would I see her being, or what would I see her? Well, she's clearly going to be most likely a Juggernaut, if I had to guess her class. if not a juggernaut, a tank. I don't think she'll be a high-speed fighter. She's wearing full armor. Again, she's very tall, very quite large in structure. That doesn't shout quick fighter for me. That shouts juggernaut / tank. Quite similar to Darius in some aspects. So they're going to do celebrations to Arcane Season 2. It's coming out in November. They're updating the Champion Mastery system, so I'll do a separate video about that to talk about that. Arena is coming back with tons of improvements, increasing it to 8 teams of 2. So right now, obviously, it's 4 teams of 2. It's going up to 8. So arena matches, I guess, last maybe a bit longer. Earth and All for One will be back in the first half of the year, with more modes returning later. The modes team is working on another mode that's chill way to play with friends. Let me know what you'd potentially want this to be. I actually really would like either 2 things, but they're kind of the same game. A custom new game mode that is basically a hide and seek or prop hunt. I think one of those in League of Legends, a more chill, really just not combat orientated game mode that you, let's say you're the hider, you know, you're a Nico, but you can become anything. I think that would actually be really, really fun. So that's my wish for a new game mode. Let me know if you agree. The controversial thing so far, and here is the big one, Vanguard is coming to League of Legends. So for those that don't know Vanguard, Vanguard is Riot's perpetual or proprietary, that's the word I'm looking for, it's their own anti-cheat software. Obviously my background is computer game design, software engineering and stuff like that, so I know quite a lot about this. I looked into it heavily when it was released in Valorant. So what this is, it's a kernel-based anti-cheat system. And I don't know why, and maybe people can highlight this to me, but other games have got kernel-based anti-cheat systems. Steam's one is kernel-based. BattleEye and stuff like that is kernel-based. I don't know why a lot of people are very anti-Vanguard when it comes to anti-cheat, but they're probably fine with the other versions. A kernel-based system, for those people that don't really know what that is basically and what people don't like about it, a kernel-based system is basically, it's integrated in the level of access of your Windows files. So it has complete access to look through, and this is where I guess people are like, it can look through your whole PC. But the thing is, and obviously that sounds scary in principle, I just need to try and make people calm because people really overreact. And as you know, obviously don't be a weird, dodgy human and don't have dodgy things on your PC and you'll be fine anyway. But it's not even really looking for that. You know, it's not. Riot and these anti-cheat companies, they're not looking for things about you personally. You have to remind yourself that. In the grand scheme of things, they don't care about you individually. What they're looking for is just cheats. That's what they're looking for. Like, they're not looking for what is such and such's weird fetish, you know, that they don't care. They're just looking for something that is affecting their game. And you have to just remind yourself, if ever a Vanguard system or a BattleEye system, an anti-cheat kernel-based software, it was discovered that they were looking into details and getting personal information, they would be fried. Especially in America with their litigious system, everyone is so litigious, they would be demolished in the legal system. Everyone knows they would be. So they won't be doing anything dodgy. So I personally am all for it. Again, you don't really see cheaters in League of Legends. You know, there's occasional scripters, but what you do see, and what they're kind of making a point here, bots. Bots and cheaters. So what ultimately Vanguard is going to be very good at doing is absolutely demolishing the bot leveling pandemic, if you will. That has already got better. Riot's obviously had a better detection system for those botted accounts, but this will make it near on impossible to bot because it's so easily detectable. That's what people don't understand when it comes to botting, hell, even scripting. It's so easy to detect. And why it's been a problem in League of Legends for the past few years, they just weren't detecting it. They literally just didn't really detect it. They just didn't have anything looking. So Vanguard will make very quick work of all of that. So I imagine you occasionally hear about, like, cheater forums and stuff. I've never gone on cheater forums, obviously, but I imagine they are probably cacking it right now. If any of them obviously play League, or the botters that level accounts and make money that way, they are probably cacking it, because this is a very bad thing for them. There is one negative, I will say, in the kind of crossfire. In an innocent party is potentially going to be affected. Many of you guys know Skin Spotlights. So he uses scripts to help with his filming to speed it up. Otherwise, it would take a very long time. He has already spoken outwardly. It's going to impact him very heavily unless they give him an exception, which hopefully they do, because obviously he's done a lot for the community as a whole. But yeah, let me know what you think of this. The only thing that I grant, because people will obviously, who aren't a big fan of kernel-based anti-cheat, if you're okay with BattlEye, the only difference with other kernel-based cheat software and League is the Vanguard system, you could say, is a little bit more intense. And what I mean by that is, when you start your PC, if you're wanting to play League, the kernel-based system has to launch with Windows. So you have to open kernel, or Vanguard, sorry, with your PC coming on. And if you turn it off, like, okay, I'm done playing League, you want the anti-cheat to not be on anymore, you turn Vanguard off, you can't then just open up League and start playing again an hour later. You need to restart your PC to reboot Vanguard. So that's annoying, partially. It is worth knowing, because there are the people going, oh, what performance what performance will this lead? At idle, at non-use, it has 0% processing power, so it's not actively working when you're not playing. And I think at the grand scheme, it can go upward of 5% processing power at load. So when you're actively playing a game like Valorant or eventually League, yeah, 5% processing power on top of the game is what Vanguard potentially will be doing. Probably lower than that, but it's not a big performance hit for the nicety of this. And as you can see here, by the way, so Vanguard will allow us to hardware ban offenders, I'll talk about that in a second, and do live match termination, refunding LP to players impacted. So cheater detected, game terminated, the cheater will get banned, and you don't lose any LP if it was on your team. So that's overall, I think, a very good thing. But yeah, moving on to hardware bans are coming to League of Legends. So they're just confirming that. Now, the one thing that they're not confirming is, are they, a Vanguard system allows hardware bans, by the way. I'll explain why in a second. But hardware bans are both good and bad. I've actually had experience with hardware bans, and it was a very bad experience, and I'll talk about that again in a second, and I might even talk to League about it too. As a League partner, I think it's my obligation to bring up a negative I've had with hardware ID bans. But hardware ID bans can be a good thing, because IP bans do nothing. And IP bans can also be, let's say, unfair. If you play League of Legends in a university dormitory and the IP gets banned the whole building, then you're banning everybody in that building on the same IP internet connection. A hardware ban just looks at every single thing in your PC has a serial number attached. So the RAM, the GPU, the CPU, everything has got an individual serial number. And a hardware ID ban basically takes all of those IDs, puts it to your profile, bans your profile, and if any of those same IDs ever get used, you're not allowed to play. So even if you took your PC, you took the RAM out, you put new RAM in, you took your GPU, anything, if there is at all a crossover, you're still banned. You'll have to get a new PC with every single component brand new to get unbanned. The negative of this, though, and again, this is where I do have to speak of a negative, I got hardware ID banned in Call of Duty. And people may know this, and I've never really told the story because they did not want me to tell the story, but enough time has passed, I think I'm okay to say it. I obviously used to stream COD a bit more a few years ago, and I was pretty good. And, I'd be occasionally dropping 20 plus kills in Warzone and all that stuff, and I wasn't bad. I woke up and tried to play COD with my friends. I got banned, and I was like, And occasionally, my friends would joke of, oh, Huzz is really good, he must be cheating, as a joke. And I've never cheated, never ever. I've always admitted the only ever game I've properly cheated on, like other than just like PlayStation input cheats, is RuneScape. I had a clicker to auto level my mining, and I'll admit that, but I've never cheated in League of Legends or anything like that, or Call of Duty. And it took me, and I spent a decent amount of money in Call of Duty. Getting hardware ID banned when I knew I was innocent was very, very annoying. And I know a lot of people who get banned will claim innocence and they're not innocent. But what happened to me, and this is where they have to be careful with hardware ID bans, I was innocent. I eventually got hold of basically the influencer manager at Activision for Call of Duty. He had a look at my case and he admitted what happened. Basically, some manufacturers can be quite lazy in production, and he didn't say what component was affected, but let's just say the RAM. In the RAM factory, each individual RAM should have an individual serial number, but sometimes they go a bit lazy, they cut corners, and they just copy-paste the serial numbers to a whole batch of RAM sticks, let's just say. And then if a cheater was banned, hardware ID banned, they were cheating, and my RAM shares the same hardware ID because the manufacturer was lazy, boom, I got banned too. Now, because I was a content creator and I was streaming and stuff, I got unbanned like individually. I actually got banned again and they had to once again unban me. But that's quite scary. So as long as, occasional hardware manufacturers are doing that, skipping corners and not actually giving individual IDs, there is a risk that hardware IDs can catch innocent people out. Also, there is spoofing to it. It's not complete bulletproof. You can spoof your hardware ID. It is harder to do. It is another step, and it's much more than like changing your IP address, for example. So it's a good thing, but be careful with it is what I have to say. Next up is Rakan, Ezreal, Kindred, Evelyn, and Kayle will be receiving prestige skins in the first half of this year. So again, a lot of really good information, obviously. Lee Sin's ASU is almost complete and he'll be coming out early May. Oh, okay. So I think, like we said earlier, VGU, I think, is a complete update, including all their abilities. And ASU is just the aesthetic, because they won't be changing Lee Sin's aesthetic. So yeah, he's got an updated look. So there we go. Teemo's ASU ran into some issues and we're evaluating our updated timelines. So yeah, he's also getting an ASU, Mr. Teemo. Oh, is that Talon? We have new thematics, Heaven Scale and Primal Ambush. So I have no idea what one that is, but it looks quite cool. Fairy Court, Project, and Blood Moon are returning this year. Older legendary skins that don't have unique borders will be getting them, including Dragon Trainer Tristana, Brolaf, and Corporate Mundo. Rammus and Olaf are getting skins this year. They haven't had them for a very long time. LEC, LCK, LPL, and LCS will have 3 slots this year at Worlds, while LLA, CBLOL, PCS, and VCS will remain unchanged. If I'm not mistaken, I don't follow pro play that much. Does that mean don't normally these people have 4 slots and now they're going down to 3? Maybe. Keeping double elimination at MSI, but this year the winner of MSI will win a Worlds slot at Worlds. Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. And it counts as an extra slot for their region. So, like, if LEC wins MSI, that team is automatically in Worlds, and then LEC get 4 slots, not 3, because they've already got an automatic qualifier. That's cool. MSI will be from 1st of May to the 19th in China. Worlds be in Europe. Play-ins are in Berlin, Germany, and quarterfinals will be in Paris, France. Worlds will be running from September 24th to the November 2nd. We're creating our own Hall of Fame for League esports pros called the LoL Esports Hall of Legends. That's pretty cool. Again, honestly, kind of surprised there's already not a, Hall of Fame, especially because it's an American kind of developer company. Like, Americans love Hall of Fames. So, yeah, that'd be cool. Again, obviously, a lot of the old Western pros, I imagine, are going to get a nod to that, especially the retired ones. An independent voting panel of esports industry veterans and experts from every region is voting on our first inductee. I bet Double Lift probably will be in the first one. And you got to sometimes how much controversies as a player being in versus how much they've done for the game, because it's like, Hotshot GG probably should go in there. Reginald, is that too controversial? He did a lot in the early stages of League and its growth, but then was quite a controversial toxic environment person. So again, quite interesting to see who's going to get in that. League is turning 15 this year and we'll celebrate with all of you. Just League though, no new games this year. So not even Riot Forge apparently is getting any new games. And I will just say, I don't know how time goes so fast. Behind me back here, you might be able to see this pass in the top right is my League of Legends 10 pass. Like, oh, hang on. Oh, this might be a bad idea. Oh God, so much stuff. So yeah, look at this. This is my League of Legends 10-year anniversary pass. That was my hotel key card in the Hard Rock Hotel. We had League of Legends keys. League 10 has Huzzy on it, where I had a press content creator badge. This is going to be 5 years old. Like, how is that? Like, what? 5 years old. That was 2019 that we all got invited to London at a crazy event. That's unbelievable that that's already 5 years ago. And then we have a teaser for the 2024 cinematic. I have no idea what that means. But overall, some very interesting things here. Obviously, this video is more like, this is what's coming in the upcoming year. So some highlights for me. The Vanguard system, I think, is quite big. It basically will eliminate scripting in any regard. It'll eliminate botting, like even leveling accounts is going to go in terms of botting. And obviously, hardware ID, that's quite interesting. Are they going to also implement that with when it comes to toxic people, not just cheating? But then also, they'll have the technology moving forward of live match termination and refunding LP. They've never been able to do that. You know, they've never been able to refund LP, but they're now bringing that system online, which is quite interesting. Again, she as a champion, I think will be pretty exciting. Obviously, there is the mastery change, which I'll do another video about. We're getting a new mid-range mage solo laner after Smolder, so we'll probably see, again, Smolder was a very early release already this year. If I had to guess when we'll see the mid laner, end of February, early March is probably what I would guess. I'm because of how quickly they've done Smolder, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised. About 3 years ago, Riot said they want to start releasing 6 champions a year, 2 in mid lane and 1 in each role. They've never hit that target. I'm going to guess in 2024, they want to try and hit that target. And that's why they were like, the 3rd of January, like, was the meeting of Smolder, by the way, like, straight away. I missed the actual meeting because I completely just was like, 3rd of Jan. But yeah. So Shyvana, obviously VGU won't be getting this upcoming year. The Skarner update, we'll see how that goes. It sounds bad what I'm about to say, but I think it's going to be not a good thing. It can't be because it's taken so long. And then, yeah, another thing, don't sleep on right at the beginning. They're changing how lobbies evaluate skills. So you should get better, closer lobbies, fewer smurfs. You know, it's a vein of smurf queue coming back, let's be honest. It is worth knowing, this is not True Skill 2.0. I haven't made a video talking about that. Again, I probably should. The end of this year, I'll just touch upon it very quickly. The end of 2024, Riot will be implementing something called True Skill 2.0. There is a research paper and you can read about it already. The example in that paper, though, is about FPS games in terms of matchmaking and MMR. So a lot of people have become scared thinking, oh my God, it's a KDA-based system. KDA is one of the very big things you can go off in an FPS game, and it is quite relevant in FPS games, more so than a MOBA. MOBAs have a lot more depth to them than FPS games. So when Riot says they're going to be implementing True Skill 2.0, yes, KDA most likely will have a bit of an impact, but along with everything else, CS score, vision score, turret damage, gold income, damage done, damage taken, healing done, shielding done, it will look into all parameters. You know, Riot's not going to implement a system without thinking it through. So I might make a video on that. Let me know if you want me to, because obviously I do have an understanding of it. It is ultimately a risky thing that Riot will do, but all of us complain about the current MMR system, so I don't see it as a bad thing that they're implementing a new MMR LP system at the end of this year. But yeah, that isn't this, by the way. This is what they're doing here is the current MMR system with a slight return of Smurf Q. That's what they're doing. So they're not going full on Smurf Q again. It's returning it slightly because they're basically bringing back tighter ranked boundaries of, you know, you shouldn't get platinum and silver players in the same game. And also, hey, they're Smurfs, put them together. That's what they're doing again. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. A lot of really big things here. I am very interested to hear what you think, especially about Vanguard. But yeah, that's going to be it. Let me know what you think. I think it's a good thing, but I'm also, when it comes to my university degree and everything, I'm not as like fear-mongery when it comes to kernel-based systems. They're very normal, you know. No company cares about you individually. They're not looking about what you're doing. They just are looking for cheats. So that's pretty much it. But anyway, let me know. I'd be interested to know. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.